especially on the internet, about, for you to be more successful, you have to wake up early. Now, I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I am not going to tell you for you to have more success, you got to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's absurd. But what I will tell you is it's not the time that you wake up, but the amount of time that you put in. So his schedule was totally different than mine. When I would go hang with him, they would be having dinner like at 9 o'clock at night. I mean, to me, that's absurd. So he has dinner like at 9 o'clock at night. They'll sit up and chit-chat till 10, 11, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. And then he gets up about 8 or 9 o'clock. I'm totally different. I'll get to bed at 9 o'clock and I'll get up at 4 o'clock. All right? So it has nothing to do with what time you wake up. It has everything to do with or the amount of time that you put in. So you don't have to be a member of the 5 a.m. club or the 4 a.m. club. You just have to put the time in. Now, one of the things that I love to share about him that many people don't get when it comes to billionaires, if you've never really lived with a billionaire, one day he called me up and he said, so-and-so is not doing well. It was a mutual friend. He said, I'd like you to meet me, and it was in Boca Raton. He said, I'd like you to meet me in Boca Raton, and if you could get a vehicle and you drive us to his place and we'll go say hi and whatnot. I said, okay, great. So I called his pilot up and I said, how many people is he going to bring? I need to know, what size car, because I have no idea who he's bringing. So check this out. His pilot goes, well, I'm not too sure, but he might have his chef with him, personal chef. He might have his butler with him. And I'm thinking, that's crazy. So he travels with all this. But here's what his butler does. His butler, like if he says, now, he's not an arrogant person. In fact, I have him on one of my programs, Secrets That My Millionaires Taught Me About Business and Success. And before this interview, he said to me, I'm not comfortable talking about my success. That was his hint to give me, don't ask me how much money I make or how much I'm worth. He does not talk about that, all right? So when I hung around him, let's say he wants to go from one location to another, and he wants to travel from one location to another. He doesn't go in his closet and get the clothes and pack it and take it in the jet to his next location. His butler packs everything for him, takes the clothes in the jet, goes to his next location, unpacks it. He does not lift a finger. Why? Yes, it's because he's a billionaire, but he also knows how valuable his time is. He only does everything that he does, that he knows that other people can't do, that he is the master at. So when I go and sit with him, this particular location, it was in the Cayman Islands. The last time I spent with him before he passed was in the Cayman Islands. So I spent 4 days with him. You get there in his condo. He's got a large table that can hold 8 people, and he has 4 phones, and his chef and his butler is there at his beck and call. What that taught me was, when you are an entrepreneur, especially a lot of people who are brand new, one of the mistakes that you'll have is you wear too many hats. How many of you would agree with that, right? Especially after this week. You're saying, oh my gosh, I got to get videographers, and I got to get editors, and I got to get, social media, and I mean, it's crazy what you would have to do. So you're going to wear a lot of hats. One of your number one goals in your business is to see how fast you can take a hat off and delegate not just the task, but the responsibility to other people. That is an absolute must. And then every time you grow your business, one of your goals is to grow your business to have a better lifestyle. Look, stop and think about this. What I'm going to be sharing with you today, and what basically I've been sharing with you all week, is to have a better lifestyle. Everybody should have a goal to have a better lifestyle. You are not here on this planet to just pay your bills and go from paycheck to paycheck. That is not why you're on this planet. So think about, what are the next chess moves, are the movements in the pieces that I can make to have a better lifestyle. So using that principle, let me show you how you can do it now, even that you don't make $1 billion, and no matter what you're making now, you can dramatically improve your lifestyle. So I'll ask you a question. If you had unlimited money, billionaire money, what would you add to your life to have a better lifestyle? Give me some comments in the chat. And then, because I can't read them from my angle, Camille, I'm going to have you read them off. Or if somebody want to say it out loud, you can say it out loud. What would you have additional in your life? What do I see here? Travel with my kids more. Okay. What else? Anything else? What else we have? Housekeeper. Massage. Is that what am I reading? Massage? Yeah. Anything else, Camille? What else do we have?
I didn't see anything else.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. A fishing boat.
Fishing boat.
Fishing boat.
Okay.
And a cook.
And a cook. All right. So a chef. So we'll start off with a chef. All right. So I don't know what a chef.
Private jet.
Huh?
Amber wants a private jet.
Oh, Amber.
We have to help you there.
I can definitely help you there. All right. So we're gonna do chef. And we're going to do jet. Okay. So, I don't know what you know about jets, but you're going to put at least $1 million. You can get one for less. You can go 10 million, 20 million. All right. So let's just say a number of $1 million. And that, by the way, that's the cheap part. It's the maintenance and the pilots and the insurance that's going to kill you. I don't know what a good chef would cost, but if a full-time chef, I don't know. I'm guessing maybe 80 grand, depending where you live, right? So that's a good chunk of money, $80,000 for a chef. But how can we live the lifestyle now by having a chef now and not having the $80,000? So one of the things that I like to teach people is you have to learn to get a fix in your system to get excited. So it's kind of a good analogy, but a bad analogy. When a person is on drugs, when they get a fix, they feel so good, but when they lose that fix, that high, they'll do whatever it takes to get that fix. What you're not doing is you're not getting the fix. All right? So I want you to learn to get the fix. And here's what I mean by that. Anything that you want to have that you know would take a large amount of money, the jet or the chef, there's something you can do right now to get the fix. And when you get the fix, you'll be like a burglar. You'll do whatever it takes to get the next hit and the next hit. So let me show you how you would do it. Let's say I didn't have the $80,000 for a chef. I would do this. Okay, I would do it right now. I mean, I would do it after this. I would, like locally, in my city, there's a Facebook group with 18,000 people in that Facebook group just for this city. All right? So I would put a little post out that says, is there anybody that does in-home cooking? All right? And I guarantee I'm going to get 10, 20, 30 people. All right? So we get 20, that's what we get 10 people. We're going to ask them, how much do you charge? And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start off, all I want is a fix, right? I'm not able to afford the $80,000. I just want a fix. So I'm going to ask that person, what would you charge me to come to my house one Sunday a month? I want to see if I can afford that. Maybe 2 Sundays. Then maybe I'll go to 3 Sundays. But we're going to start off with 1 Sunday. 1 Sunday a month. I'm going to make a list. I want you to go to the grocery store. I want you to come for the entire day. I want to have you cook me as many meals as you possibly can for whatever it is. 1 week's worth of meals, 2 weeks worth of meals, 3 weeks worth of meals, whatever. Everybody getting this? All right? But let's say, Gary, you can't even afford the 1 Saturday a month. What do? Well, I go ahead and I'm going to call Christina or Amber or Danny and say, Danny, hey, we live kind of close by. I can't afford that one Sunday. You want to split it with me? Now we cut that in half. Or we call the chef and we say, look, I can't afford that. It's not in my budget right now. But how about I get Danny and Camille, if I get you 2 clients, and then what I'll do is I'll get them to pay. I'll be transparent. I'll let them know, and you give me 50% off. Would that be good? You see what I'm doing? All I'm trying to do is get you a fix, because once you get the chef in the house and you go, man, this is nice, your brain is going to start thinking about ideas and how to do this faster, better, quicker, and you're going to move the chess pieces in your business so you can afford it. Every time I push that button in that jet, I get so excited and I think about, okay, what can I do to push it some more? What can I do to push it some more? And what do you think I do? It forces me to set my game up. I just got this jet We've been playing with leasing it, so now we're getting ready to do the purchase. Just got it about 3 weeks ago, and let me tell you, I'm moving chess pieces all over the place. It's absolutely nuts. But if I don't get the fix, what you're going to do is you're going to be here, wherever here is, and you're going to have all these big dreams about going here, and you have no idea how to get there, and then the discouragement factor between here and here is huge. I had a guy come to me years ago, and I did some consulting with him. And he says, Gary, my biggest problem is I had to file bankruptcy. I said, okay. I said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to, because he still had income, I said, I want you to take a percentage of your income, and I want to take you and your family, and I want you and your family to go 2 cities away. I don't care if it's 2 cities away, and I want you to go get a hotel room and go have some fun. Oh, Gary, I don't know if I can do that. I feel bad doing that. Well, then sit here and cry and complain about not having any money and working from paycheck to paycheck. How are you going to get yourself a fix to at least enjoy your life a little bit and say, okay, wait a minute, I'm going to go ahead and work harder. I'm going to get through this. But in the same time, during the journey, you're going to enjoy it. For the person who said they want a fishing boat, when last have you rented a fishing boat? Go rent a fishing boat. Maybe you could take 10 friends and you get 10 friends and each one of you put in $50. That's nothing to get the fix in your system. The jet is the same way. Cheapest way to get in a jet is give Camille $8,000, Amber, and you're on the way with Gary on the jet. But let's say that you could say, hey, I'll make a deal with you, Camille, how about I fill the jet up and you cut me a deal or give me a trip to Sandals? Just negotiate, just like that 18-year-old kid. 18-year-old kid went to 7 entrepreneurs and called them up and convinced them to give him $10,000 or $20,000 so he would spend $70,000 and buy programs and then learn those programs to grow his business and teach the 7 people that helped him out. You with me on this? And when you get so caught up in the cycle of your life of just wake up, take care of the kids, go to school, go to work, rinse and repeat, it's so hard to get out of that cycle, that merry-go-round and that Ferris wheel if you don't stop and think this way. All right? Does that make sense to everybody? I hope so, yeah? But do it. I have done this since I was a teenager, right? And I remember when I became an entrepreneur, my big thing was aviation. I remember, and you couldn't do it, you'd get arrested now. But years ago, when they didn't have the security like they have now, I would literally sneak into airplanes and turn the buttons on. I remember one guy, he caught me, he cussed me out. What are you doing in my airplane? I was getting a fix. That's what I was doing. And I got my fix, and I still go get my fix. So I was just in Dallas, and we're never happy, right? So I landed my jet, and there was another jet that I really want after this jet. So I had some friends with me, and I said, come get it. And I literally used that word, come get a fix. There's a guy that he came up to me. He says, I know you, you're Gary Coxe. And then he says, I follow you. And then he told me he was also part of the cult. So I had to give him a big hug. So now we have a huge thing in common. And he says, he's a pilot. I said, what are you flying? He points to the jet that I want. I said, can we go in it? He says, yes. So I called all my friends. I said, come on, let's go get a fix. I want them to get a fix. I want them to sit in the jet, even though I just flew them to Dallas in a jet. So always look for ways to give yourself a fix. You want a Maserati? Okay, go rent a Maserati for one day. Can't afford it? Get 4 friends to pitch in with you and rent the Maserati. You want to go on vacation more? Go get a little taste of something close to where you're wanting to go. Go half the amount of time that you want to do. Just, you can figure it out. Get an excursion and charge everybody to do it, and you get paid from what you're charging them to run the whole show, and you go on that massive vacation that you thought you'd never could afford. Moral of the story, get the fix. All right, so with all that being said, another thing that I learned from him is the importance of financial leverage. Getting to the next level faster. What kind of leverage do you have? For example, how valuable do you look at your time? Here's what's interesting. I'm going to assume that everybody watching has a car and you get around in a car. That seems to be reasonable, right? Now, there was a decision that you made where you decided not to use a bicycle. How many of you get around on a regular basis on a bicycle? I don't think we have too many people on that, right? But check this out. One day, probably subconsciously, you had an idea that said, I'm going to invest my hard-earned money in a car. I'm going to pay for the maintenance, and I'm going to buy insurance because my time is too valuable to ride a bicycle around. You know, you actually made that decision whether you realize it or not, because you realize it just doesn't make sense to drive around or ride around in a bicycle when you can use a car, because your time is that valuable. My next question to you is, why did you stop there? Why did you stop there? See, you got yourself convinced because when you were 15 years old, you wanted a driver's license. You didn't say, I just want a nicer bike. You got a driver's license or a learner's permit. And you didn't get convinced even at that time, but subconsciously you realize that's the thing to do because you don't want to go around in a bicycle because it's going to take you too long to get around. But for most people, they stop right there realizing how valuable their time is. And I want you to be looking at your day-to-day activity in your business and also in your home life. And when you value your time more and don't stop at dropping the bicycle and going for the car, what other things can you do to get to that next level? And I don't say this arrogantly, but that's why I use the jet. I got myself, and I worked hard to get to myself that my time was so valuable that we spent $12,000 to go to Dallas to meet a couple people in one day and come back because we knew what the return was. So I don't want you to stop by dropping the bicycle off, going to a car, spending the money on the car, the maintenance and the insurance because you know how valuable your time is. What more now do you see that your time is so valuable that you need to do things like take off more hats, take off more hats to give to other people, maybe take that next risk in your business to get to the next level so you can keep taking more hats off so you can have a better lifestyle. All right, so I want to share with you the concept of learning and having the mindset of creating things faster, especially money. And I'll use an illustration, though you're probably tired of my airplane stuff, but anyway, bear with me. So this is a runway, and let's say you come to me and say, Gary, I want to learn how to fly an airplane. And I'm going to teach you how to fly an airplane, so we spend a little bit of time flying. And we're going to do what's called touch and goes. In fact, I'm going to go with somebody today. They want to get some experience in the jet. We're going to take them in the jet after I'm done with you and spending time with you, and we're going to do that. So here's a touch and go. A touch and go is you take the jet off, and you come up, and you make a rectangle. You fly around, come around, make a rectangle, come around, and then you land right here. Okay? The last 10 seconds, that's the part that's going to kill you. I mean, not to discredit anybody who's a pilot, but anybody can fly an airplane, all right? It's not that difficult. But the landing part, that's the part's going to get you. Now, it takes you typically, let's say, it depends on the airport and where you're going and so forth. But let's say typically it takes you 10 minutes to do one touch and go. 10 minutes to do one touch and go. So you can do 6 touch and goes. 6 times 10 is an hour. You can do 6 touch and goes in 1 hour. So here you go. You've got 6 touch and goes. 6 touch and goes in 1 hour. So I looked at this and I thought, wait a minute. How can I help a student? Because I'm an instructor. I don't do that for a living, but I just have that rating as a flight instructor. How can I make the experience better for you and get you to learn faster than the average student? So I came up with an idea. And here's the idea. What if, instead of landing here and taking off and coming back around and eating up 10 minutes, what if we could do things faster? And I'm going to apply this to money. That's what we've been doing all week, right? If you can do one to many and make more offers, you can get to the next level faster. So I decided, okay, how about we do this? We go up, maybe 50 or 100 feet, come back down, land again, come back up, come back down, and then come back all the way around. So now, instead of doing one touch and go in 10 minutes, how many am I doing? I'm doing how many? 3. So now I'm doing 18 touch and goes in 1 hour. How many times faster or more will a person learn than the first one? How many times? 3 times. Now, I'm not saying this to tap myself on the back, but who do you think is going to get more experience? The student who's doing 18 touch and goes in an hour or the student that's doing only 6? Common sense should tell me 6. Now, here's another interesting point. This to me makes sense. So why don't other instructors, I know of no instructor that does this, why don't other instructors do this? So here, let's say you have an instructor. He's looking along at the end of the runway. Let me tell you what this is going to look like. literally, you're going to think the pilot made a mistake and he's drunk. He's going to go up and come back down and go up and come back down when everybody goes one time and comes all the way around. So, number one, he's overly concerned about what other people think. What decisions do you make or not make that you should make or not make because you're overly concerned about what other people think? You'd be surprised at that answer. In fact, it's so unusual that I literally have to call the tower and speak to the air traffic controller and say, hey, I want you to know that I'm going to be doing some touch and goes. We're going to do several of them. We request what's called the option. We have the option to do whatever we want when we get over to the runway. So we're going to ask for an option. Just want you to know, it looks like we're kind of crazy doing drunk stuff, but we're not drunk. We're just doing 3 touch and goes in one full runway. And I literally call them because it's so unusual to them. They'll be wondering, what the heck is going on there? Let's call the FAA on this guy. So if you're not overly concerned about what other people think, you'd be surprised how quick you can take your business to the next level. And it's because of being overly concerned about what other people think. They don't make the investments needed to grow their business. They don't get on that camera as much as they possibly could. They don't ask for the close as much as they possibly could. They don't ask for introductions or referrals as much as they could because they're too overly concerned about what other people think. I want you to think about that. And then when you apply this to your business, you can find, especially from the things that we've discussed, that many times it is easier to make a lot of money in a short period of time than to make a little money in a long period of time. Sometimes it's easier to make $50,000 in a month than in a year, and sometimes $50,000 in a day than a month. This is called leverage. And when you understand this, then you get to the next level quicker. And here's the reason why most people don't get this, and it's a hard time for people to grasp this. We're programmed to trade time for money. Think about that. Somebody makes $20 an hour. They want to get a phone. The phone is $1,000. In their mind, this is how they think. They think, okay, $20 times 50. I got to work 50 hours to pay for this phone. What I like to think is I just got to make an offer and put something together and I can pay for that phone and I can do it in whatever it takes to make the offer and get the people to buy. That's it. And typically, the reason we also don't think this way, we don't grow up this way. We grow up trading time for dollars. And especially, it's a little better now, but years ago, it's get a job, go to college, get another job, and stay there for the rest of your life. So, let me share with you how we were taught this way. Here's an example that I want to give you. So, let's say you were a kid, and how many of you, when you were younger, you had a little side job? Maybe you mowed lawns, or you did something, right? All right, I did the mowing lawn thing, right? So if you mow lawns, let's say you get $10 an hour, or $10 to mow the lawn, not an hour, but it takes you an hour to do it. All right, 1 hour to mow the lawn, and then you've got the sun here, and it's just beating on you like crazy, and you're over here sweating like crazy in the sun, mowing the yard. And let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna draw a lawnmower. Here's my little lawnmower. You get the little grass bag here, and then the little handle, and there's a little lawnmower. Okay, so we're going to get $10 for that yard, and we're going to sweat our butts off. So we're trading what for what? We're trading time for money. But now, what if our parents taught us this? Wait a minute. How about we get a kid in the neighborhood, and we get that kid to replace you, and we're going to get 2 lawns to mow. All right, we're going to get 2 lawns, and we're going to mow 2 lawns, but we're going to raise the price to $15, and we're going to add more value to justify the $15. Now, this is somebody else now, you get the other kid, that's not you. You're over here watching with a big smile, because now you don't have to do any of the hard work. So you're working smarter, not harder. You tell this kid, hey, I'll give you half, I'll split it with you. So the kid does 2 lawns for $30. You get no longer $10, you get $15 for not even doing the work, and they get $15 for not doing the work. That's called leverage and working smarter, not harder. How many of you wish you grew up thinking like that, right? Okay? That just makes a lot more sense. And what happens is when we don't grow up like this and we want to become entrepreneurs, we think like most entrepreneurs, if you want it done right, do it your what? Self. The worst disability mindset that keeps you from having more success. Because when you grow up doing everything yourself in your business, what happens is you know you need to let go and have somebody else mow lawns for you, if you will. But then you have trust issues. Then you have, well, what if they steal customers from me issues? You have all these different things, and your mind goes down that path instead of the path, okay, how about we figure out how to maintain and not have these trust issues? How do we hire people correctly? And so on and so on. I remember when I got the reality how valuable my time was. I'll never forget this. It literally changed the trajectory of my life in an instant. So when I was 11, I started my first business. When I was 15, I started my second business. I was in the jewelry business. When I was in high school, I will never forget this. I was selling jewelry to the girls in school. I walked into the bathroom one day because I had a lot of money in my pocket and I didn't want anybody to see it. I'll never forget this. I walked into the bathroom. It was the stalls were painted dark, ugly blue. And I walked into the bathroom stall and I literally stood up on the toilet because I didn't want anybody to see that I was in there. I pulled out my my money and I counted $400 cash. I instantly, in that moment, made a decision to quit school. I said, wait a minute, $400 or come to school all day long and I have, 5 classes and I spend 8 hours there. Half the time is going from classroom to classroom. I waste another couple hours sitting there waiting for the class to settle down. And then you have to wait another hour or two for everything to wrap up over the whole day period. It's just a total waste of time. So I went to my high school principal, true story. And we called him Doc. I said, Doc, I got a goal and you're not going to like it. My goal is to quit school. But here's what I'd like to do. This was in my junior year, by the way, when I counted that $400. I said, here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to join your work experience program. The work experience program, that they still have them, I believe, today, where a student can go to school part-time and they have a job part-time. So I said, here's what I want to do. For my senior year, I don't want to show up at school at all. I want to start my own business. And typically in the school program, the work program, you have to have a supervisor grade you. Well, I don't have a supervisor. I'm going to be my boss, so I guess I'm going to have to grade myself. So he thought about it for 10 seconds. And he said, Gary, go for it. And so for my senior year, I never showed up in school. I got my diploma 2 years later. I forgot about it and asked them, and they had it in their little safe for me. And I'd be happy to let you know that I gave myself a 4.0 average. It's not what you know, but who you know, all right? So that is literally how I really propelled myself. I took a quantum leap. I understood that time is money, and I understood the value of understanding how valuable my time was. So really something important for you to think about, and it literally changed my life. And I know that I'm here today with you because of that.